This is how now.
How now?
In my eyes, indisposed, in disguise as no one knows, hides the face, lies the snake, in the sun in my disgrace. Boiling heat, summer stench, neath the black the sky looks dead. Call my name through the tears, and I'll hear you scream again. Black old sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? Black old sun, won't you come and won't you come? Stuttering, golden dance, still the warm and tired friend. Times are gone for honest men, and sometimes far too long for snakes. In my shoes, walk and sleep, in my youth I pray to keep. Heaven sail away. Black old sun, won't you come and wash away the rain? Black old sun, won't you come, won't you come? I was 5 and he was 6. We rode horses made of steel. I was 5 and he was 6. We rode horses made of steel. He wore black and I wore white. He would always win the fight. Bang, bang. Bang, 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 bang. Bang, 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 bang. Bang, 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 bang. Now he's gone and I don't know why. Now he's gone and I don't know why. Till this day sometimes I cry. Till this day sometimes I cry.
How are you feeling? You look great, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm feeling good. This like whole COVID thing was like, it still derailed some things, but it revealed so much more. Kind of revealed the waste in my life, just my goals
Yeah.
as an artist, and my goals just as a human being, then a dad. I was like, oh, I'm wasting some time here.
You know, was there a moment when you were, something clicked, or was it just from having the time to be able to like step back and recognize your part in how you're interacting and how you're doing and your part in the world as opposed to how the world is playing on you?
For me, life is just the improvisation of music. And I'm not talking about me making an improvisation, just my adjustments.
Yeah.
And through that adjustments, you learn about yourself.
you know, the group that you got is, man, some heavy hitters and like
Yeah, I'm
some
glad to hear
really amazing people
Yeah.
playing in the group. Very, very incredible Buffalo musicians, you know. So how did that group come along? How did you get that going?
Well, it came out of we were doing a tribute to Ray Scott.
Mm,
And Ray Scott's from Buffalo, but he's also was in the Sun Ra Orchestra and had his own groups too. And he took me on tour. It was me, it was my band Groovology, and him, and we did like clubs in New York.
Sure.
And he was like really like mentoring me on how to go on the road and how to go on the road overseas with the family, really with the family, because he
Yeah.
kept his family together. And at that point, we had Greg Millar for that concert. Greg Millar, Abdul Rahman, Sabu Aliola, and then the rest of the cast: Steve Bashkowski, Ravi Papanaba, me, Curtis Lavelle, Rashawn Odell, Brett Burkhead, and Scott Tixier.
yeah.
And from there, I kind of choose those cats because I had did a tour with Scott, and he was like, "Man, I love Buffalo. I got to get back."
Yeah.
And he's just a great individual. So I was just like, "Sure, you know, yeah, come on, get on this." So from that concert, it went so well. It sold out at the CNC Jazz Fest. I was like, "Man, I want to do a project." That first concert was also sponsored by Hall Walls. So this is kind of the baby of Point Nine and
Okay.
Birchville Penny, because we like to do collaborations over at CMC. I like to, and I'm the artistic director over there. So I'm like, I tell everybody, come on, let's just make it worth everybody's while. So I decided to do this Kipper Revelation. I get a grant from Contemporary Arts down in New York City. I call the guys up. These artists happen to live in Buffalo. And some, you see what I did? I got the artists that from the area, you know.
Yeah.
They're not really local. They're like artists that live here, you know what I'm saying? So I said, all right, I got these cats, let's go. And of course they went. Matter of fact, if you ever show that video, that was an improv. She knows nothing. If I show you the original video before she sings, Odell says, I gotta start playing. He says, let me set it up. I don't even know what key is gonna be in. She turns to me and says, what do you want me to do? I said, do the thing, something we did like this, because the day before we had to do recording. So just do something, we'll follow you. She was like, okay. She masters up 3 tunes in that particular key he puts it in, and we just go in. And Steve, everybody else, Scott, Brent, Ravi, they all just jump on that and go.
So how are you going to like circumvent all of this, and tell us about this new project, this new thing coming up, Commune with the Ancestors, that's happening on November 14th.
So we've been blessed to work with Hall Walls. We've been working with Hall Walls for about maybe 4 or 5 years. We've been just doing concerts together. This time now what we're doing is we decided to put in for a grant. We get it with the Cullen Foundation, and we were going to do all these concerts. Of course, COVID.
Yeah.
So we started doing online, streaming, and it was going well. We were like, what can we do this year to just to do something?
Yeah.
Just to do something. So we come to them and say, hey, we got something. It's a tour. But we're going to put, and it still had to kind of develop, because as COVID developed, and we had to figure out kind of how we're going to do this. So we were able to get our residents musicians. And so we said, okay, we're going to do a little bit of acting and throw some music in there. Acting, throw music back and forth. And we're going to do some of the history, because there's a lot of history in the club. So we're going to hit people with Stuff Smith, the first violinist to ever have electric amplification. We'll talk about Shep. We'll talk about Wade Legge. We'll talk about Charles Mingus, who came and taught over at UB.
Yeah.
And a few others. Sarah Vaughan, we're going to talk a little bit about.
The deep history of jazz in Buffalo. There were 47 clubs here Take us through the how that changes, how that changed.
Yeah, so jazz was the pop music of that day.
Yeah.
It wasn't even liked. young people liked it. You know, it's almost how hip hop is. I remember in the 80s, bro, when NWA came out, you had to sneak to listen to that. Now NWA the Black Tie Event. Are you kidding me? You had to sneak to listen to this stuff. Leaders of the New School. I couldn't let nobody know. My parents know I was listening to that. So but take that whole way that we treat hip hop and how we listen to LL and all that stuff, EPMD, and all those artists. Now make that, Coltrane. You know, these guys were considered drug addicts and everything else.
Yeah,
Music
yeah.
was. At one time, that's what they played in all brothels and strip clubs, and we had a ton of them here in Buffalo. Bobby Jones would talk about his first gig very young. It's all through strip clubs.
Really?
You know? Yeah, it's all the old cats would talk
Jazz
about
at the strip club.
because you gotta have music, right? I mean, it's the pop of that day, you know.
Yeah.
So that's how the club stayed open, because it was a place where money and it was a popular culture. Now the popular culture is long gone. That's 80 years ago.
Yeah.
And on and on and on. Everybody lost. Just the smaller towns like your Detroits and your Pittsburghs and your Clevelands. We went down to only Colored Musicians Club.
Yeah. And so how did the Colored Musicians Club traverse that challenge?
So the Colored Musician Club, the union was founded in 1917. They bounced around a little bit to a couple of buildings, and they finally, in 1934, they get into the Colored Musician Club as we know it now.
Yeah.
Well, they bought the building. When they bought the building, they incorporated. When they incorporated,
So
it
smart.
wasn't a union. Now it became a social club.
So smart.
So you had the union that lived inside the social. Very smart. I'm gonna tell you why. And all through the 50s, we were being begged to desegregate. At the tail end 1959, they saying you must desegregate. At that particular time, Buffalo's classical union was broke. We were thriving. We were doing all the popular music.
Yeah.
Well, by 1965-ish, I could have some of those dates wrong. We're forced. You must do it.
Yeah.
So the classical union marches over there and says, "We're coming on over." They seize all of our money, supposed to split it up. And they say, "All right, we need the keys to the building." They say, "Hold up. The union doesn't own the building.
Yeah.
The club is owned by the club." I said, "What are you talking about?"
Smart.
They went back and said, "It's right. It's incorporated." Matter of fact, they didn't have nowhere to be. They had to rent from the club. So you took our money, but we made you rent from the club. So they rented from the club and was downstairs where the museum is offices.
Yeah.
And from there, it was horrible. They came, they put some guys on maybe one or two Colored Musician Club members on their board.
Yeah.
Within 5 years of them, they got rid of them. And it did the same thing they normally do. You got to remember, it's the 60s. It's bad. You got riots on Jefferson. You got riots all over the United States. You got every faction, not just Martin Luther King. You got Marcus Garvey that's already been killed. You got Emmett Till. You got Malcolm X. Plus you got this whole thing where you came and took their whole finance. Just took it. It was, we got it together. The club had great leadership. The club, because of the times of the 30s, 40s, and 50s, people didn't have health insurance, so they would give you kind of health insurance if you were a member of the club. If you needed money to buy anything, food or anything, you can come to the club and get a loan. But now we're doing banking. We're doing a lot of things that weren't established for that community, and not even that community. And I'll say community because we basically all had to live in one community at that particular time. And that's what happened with the club. It was this great leadership that kept us going.
How now?